I guess my turn, right?
Yep.
Sure.
So I want to talk about a guy named Edmond Genet.
Genêt, French.
Genêt.
Edmond Genet.
French?
He is French. He was born in 17. I should have wrote this
Hundreds.
down.
1700s.
Sometime around in the 1760s. Okay,
Mid 1700s.
1760s. His father has a job in the court of King Louis. So he grows up around Versailles.
Okay.
He's like a precocious little genius kid. He speaks 6 different languages by the time he's like 12. And gets to know the ins and outs of like international politics because people are constantly coming in there to, like, he probably met Ben Franklin.
Yeah.
Right. As he gets older, he gets a position in the embassy in Russia, the French embassy in Russia, at the court of Catherine the Great. So Louis sends him over to Moscow, to St. Petersburg.
And then after that, he was in the court of the Crimson King.
That's right.
Right. Right.
While in Russia, he really doesn't like absolutism.
Okay.
He starts to become a political guy. So when the revolution happens back in France in 1789, he's a big supporter of it. He's very happy that this is going down.
He's pro-Jacobin.
Yes. Well, he's pro-revolution.
Yeah.
Right. The Girondins take control of the government, which are not, as radically insane as the Jacobins. They bring him back to France and they give him a new job. They tell him, Genêt, you are now going to be the ambassador to the United States of America.
Cool.
Now, the United States
New country.
is probably the only country on earth that will help revolutionary France. So it's a big job.
We're also not capable of it, right?
Well, that remains to be seen.
We do have a vast amount of resources that are yet to be tapped.
1793, they send him to America. And he's got a mission. He's got a couple missions. One, his job is to get the U.S. to declare war on England. He wants to secure American protection for French colonies in the Caribbean. He wants early debt repayment from the War of Independence. And he wants to sign some new commerce treaties and things. Right?
I have a feeling he's going 0 for 4 minimum.
So he lands in Charleston, and immediately he is the toast of the town.
Yeah.
Right. So this is deep Jeffersonian country.
They love him.
Jefferson is pumping up the French Revolution in his newspapers,
Yeah.
like saying this is a country of heroes, the greatest thing that's ever happened over there. So anybody coming from France is getting a warm welcome and they're immediately like local celebrity. So he's getting all these parties thrown for him. Now, right off the bat, one of the other jobs he has in 1778. Congress, this is during the height of the War for Independence, Congress signed a treaty with France that says French privateers can use American ports as like a base of operations.
French pirates.
Yeah.
Mm.
They can also bring any prizes they win out at sea, meaning ships that they capture, back to America for safe harbor. So he's like, okay, great. I'm going to raise a privateer fleet. So immediately in Charleston, he orders the construction of 4 new ships. He names them the Republican, the Anti-George, the Sans-Culotte, and the Citizen Genêt after himself.
This may as well just be like the fuck you England fleet.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Right. Now, he's the ambassador to the United States. One thing he should be doing is meeting with the president.
Not starting a
pirate fleet.
George Washington is sitting in Philadelphia, which is the capital, waiting to be met by the ambassador from France.
And Washington, just based on my knowledge of him, does not like disrespect and when like people act like they're above him.
Yep.
That is like he's like a very patient man, but he has zero patience for shit like that.
It takes Genêt over a month to make his way up from Charleston to Philadelphia. All the while he's having parties thrown in his honor, being told how great he is, and he's a rock star.
Yep.
When he finally gets to Philly to talk to George, Washington meets with him and is decidedly very cold. He does not like this guy.
Yep. This is the most anti-George Washington guy ever, like
Yes.
personality-wise.
So Washington is hell-bent on keeping America neutral. As far as he is concerned, this treaty from 1778 no longer has any merit. And the reason is, one, the government that they signed it with has been deposed, and the guy who signed it has had his head chopped off.
Oh, I see.
So he's like, this is done. We're not doing this anymore.
Yeah, I signed that with the king.
Right.
Yeah.
The French do not see it that way. So there's that tension right away. On top of that, Washington is hell-bent on being neutral in this. He's trying to stay out of the foreign entanglement.
We have to build a country.
Right.
Yeah.
America does not have the military power to take on anyone at this point.
No, we don't have the economics. We
Right.
don't have the infrastructure.
They're desperately trying to get their house in order. They just adopted the Constitution.
Yeah, we barely won a guerrilla war against the
right.
world's greatest military.
The Federalists, who are Washington's party that backs him,
Yep.
they're the guys that came up with the Constitution. The anti-Federalists are saying in like the Jeffersonian newspapers that like they are tyrants. You know, they're trying to make a king. Genêt is playing into this. Jefferson is telling him to watch his ass. You're playing with fire with this.
Yep.
All the while, and Washington, you know, he's having meetings with this guy. They're not going anywhere. He's not getting what he wants.
He has a million things going on.
Right.
Yeah, I know this story.
Oh, you've heard this before?
It was in the Washington book. I know where this
Mhm.
goes.
So, a French privateer captures 2 British ships out at sea, and it starts sailing up the Delaware River towards Philadelphia. Genêt is like, great, I'm going to take one of these ships and add it to my fleet. He names it Le Petit Démocrate.
Small Democrat. They renamed it in modern times. They still have the ship.
Did they?
Yeah, it's called the Pete Buttigieg. The Petite Democrat.
Washington has some personal business back at Mount Vernon, so he leaves town. Jefferson tells Genêt, look, I should say this. All this while, Genêt has been sending letters back to France saying, Washington is an old, out-of-touch guy.
Yep.
I'm new, I'm young. Like, the people are the real sovereign. Washington is shit. He's trying to be king. We're going to go over his head. I'm going to get shit done, right? All this is being sent back to France.
Bad move.
Yeah. So Jefferson tells him, do not try and leave with that ship until Washington gets back and gives you permission to do it. Genêt says, okay, I'll wait for him to get back. But even if he says no, I'm going to take it anyway.
Yeah, he can't stop me.
I'm going over his head. I'm going to appeal to the people because they're the true sovereign. 2 days before Washington gets back, he sends it off anyway. So now Washington gets into town, sees what's gone down, is furious, starts like he bypasses Congress and starts passing like executive order type legislation about neutrality, making firm neutrality rules, right? He cancels the French fleet shit. Like they're not coming here. The Jeffersonians
are pissed
because he's going around the Constitution,
the framework,
right? So they start calling him out in the newspapers. Genêt starts going around Philadelphia, riling up people, like going into bars and being like, "Look at this fucking guy," you know?
Fuck Washington.
Yeah, with French sailors that are in town. Roving gangs start prowling the streets in Philadelphia at night, like screaming that America needs to declare war on England right now. Washington is not fucking happy.
No.
He has had enough of this shit. He starts devising a way to contact the French government and get them to recall this guy.
Yeah, get this guy the fuck
Get this guy the fuck out of here. Turns out some guys up in New York do it for him because I don't know how they got this, but they got their hands, some newspaper guys in New York City, on some of the letters he's been sending back to France, and they publish them in the newspaper and make them public.
Huh.
This guy has essentially gotten into a popularity contest in the United States with George fucking Washington.
Yeah.
And now that the public sees what they've been saying about him, he's done. They hate him.
Washington is universally beloved.
He's a minor deity.
He stopped like an uprising just by talking to the soldiers right after the Civil War.
Yes. The Civil War?
I said Civil War, sorry. The Revolution. That'd be impressive if he spoke to them after the Civil War.
Back in France.
He would be a deity.
The Girondins have lost power. They've been replaced by the Jacobins. And
by the way,
leader,
back and forth.
Jacobins, the greatest name in like anything. Just name.
You love Jacobin?
I love the name.
I think it
Jacobin.
sounds silly.
I don't know.
What about Jacobite?
I don't mind Jacobite. I don't know. There's something about it. It's very phonetically pleasing to me.
So the Jacobins are now in control. Robespierre at their head.
Yeah. Rewriting the calendar.
Yes, the reign of terror. Genêt gets a letter from France. We don't like what you've been doing. You need to come back to Paris and face trial. We're sending a new ambassador.
We're lopping your head off.
Now, we all know what that means. He's getting his head removed.
Looks like I'm going to be an American now.
Genêt goes to Washington, essentially on his knees, and begs for asylum. Washington, who hates this man, still does not want to see him have his head chopped off, so he gives him asylum in the USA. Genêt will go on to move to New York City. Oh, not New York, to New York. Meets the governor, woos his daughter, marries her, lives out the rest of his life on his estate overlooking the Hudson River.
Yeah.
Wow.
He died in 1834, I believe, July 14th, the 45th anniversary of the fall of the Bastille. And that is the story of Citizen Genêt.